Hello traders, it's Samurai Trader here. Welcome to this recorded training session. I'm going to be covering a lot of information in this session, and for my members that may see this on YouTube before I send them a video, don't panic. I'm going to be doing, after I record this video, well hopefully today if not tomorrow, a more in-depth explanation of some of the trades that I took live on Friday, just to give you a better breakdown on a step-by-step basis. So how this recording came about, traders, is not a day goes by that I don't receive an email about scalping the market. And I'm a scalper, but I'm normally going for a slightly larger profit target, and I wanted to try a theory. And with my so-called theory, I executed 12 trades, which I'm going to be showing you, and still with great success, but I made a couple of mistakes. I want to explain those because they were just so stupid. I'm really angry about them, but I thought, well, let me go back, show you warts and all the mistakes I made and explain them. And this will also, as I mentioned, be really good for my members. So in this video I covered around 12 trades in 90 minutes, 9 winners, 2 break even, 1 loss. I could have easily entered 20 plus trades. I was trading the NQ at the same time, which we'll talk about, because that also cost me some money by trying to trade 2 markets. And I know traders, I talk about this all the time, focus on one market. I still netted $2.99 per contract, 2,900 odd on 10 contracts, and I stuffed up on 3 trades. So we'll be looking at those muck-ups. So what exactly is scalping? Let's talk about this for a moment. A trading strategy that attempts, this is scalping, a definition, a trading strategy that attempts to make many profits on small price changes or small price movements. Traders who implement this strategy will place anywhere from 10 to a couple of hundred trades in a single day. Of course, we see scalpers on stocks particularly doing hundreds of trades a day. You can make many a day, as we're about to see, on the futures market and the forex markets as well. So we're after small moves. One thing that you don't have is a luxury called time. That is, time is of the essence when you're scalping. You're in and out, in and out. So timing your entry and exit is absolutely critical when you're scalping the markets. Now, one major advantage, or a big advantage I should say, you have when you're scalping the market is you have smaller stops. Now I have a rule, and all of my students, members, are very aware of this, that we have a maximum of 2% exposure in any one trade. I trade with a maximum of 0.5, so it allows me to add to a position. So if we take the ESE mini contract, the futures contract, as an example, a 6 tick stop, a tick is $12.50 USD, is $75, plus if you add in the commission when you actually trade and you have a loss, that's $80. So on a $4,000 account, 2% is $80. So to trade per contract, you need $4,000. Now I know your broker will tell you, look, you only need $600 or $700 as a day trading margin. However, that is a great way to wipe yourself out. If you have that attitude, well, I can start day trading with 800. You can if you trade minis or micros on the forex markets, but not futures. Remember, we're in this business to stay in this business. So looking at the bright side of this also, if you're targeting $200 a day, that's $1,000 a week. That's 25% on your money per week. Remember, we're about to get to the disclaimer, traders, so let me say that this is an example, and in today's examples that I showed you, the trading I was doing, I was trading 10 lots, 5 off at one level and 5 off at another. If you were to do this just with 2 contracts, you'd need to double that. Remember, risk management is absolutely critical. We're in this business to stay in this business. Now in the Day Traders Fast Track program, which is what all of my members purchase and trade with, you learn all of these strategies, some of the world's best scalping and day trading strategies. I actually teach you over 12 different strategies. And what is really important is that day trading becomes so much easier when you're a pattern trader. We are really pattern traders, and I'll show you that, and we'll talk more about that. I don't want to make this a big 1 hour video. I'll try to keep this as short as we can, and I want to go to the live charts in a moment. So understanding the risk, traders, if you're new to my channel, please read the risk disclaimer. Very, very important. Or perhaps even if you're not so new, perhaps you need to read it again. Remember, traders, you do not trade with the rent money. Very, very important. Now, as we're also going to be going to look at some charts in a moment, if you go to full screen down the bottom right hand corner, you'll be able to do that. So let's talk, before we go to the charts, I want to talk more about scalping. Now, scalping the markets has a reputation of flushing money down the loo, and it's very, very true if you approach it if you're not prepared, if you don't have the discipline, the focus, the patience, and all of that goes with it. You may as well just really go on a great holiday, because you can lose so much money as a scalper. So it's about learning how to scalp correctly. Now, the great news is anyone can learn how to scalp the market. I'm going to be showing you a few ideas in a moment, and for my members we'll go much more in depth on the video that I'll shoot after this one. And for my members, we're just using the same standard strategies, maybe just a little bit different on the money management. Just some ideas for you. And unfortunately, of course, those that go in underprepared of course end up losing their dollars. Now, another thing here is, of course, indicators. The more indicators you have on your chart, the more it starts to look like this. It's very, very hard to read, and nothing could be truer when it comes to scalping, because scalping, time is of the essence. You need to be able to make a decision very quickly if you're very short-term scalping. Less is best. You want to, what I call, if possible, trade naked. And as we know, my students know we've got some great strategies there, but what's on trading basically naked. But what's really important is you get those indicators off your charts. So which is the best market for us to scalp? Well, of course, you've got stocks. You can do some great day trading on trading stocks, scalping the market there. And of course, right across the USA particularly, we see prop houses or day trading rooms there all over the place where you can go in, you can rent a seat and day trade as much as you like there, quite often directly through a brokerage house. So there's some great opportunities there. And remembering all of the strategies that I show you all work on stocks, forex, or futures. Then of course we've got forex, great market, and then we've got futures. Now, one thing to consider is, and this little diagram in a way is almost applicable to the reverse, is that I'm here in Australia, and of course the New York market opens up at the moment with daylight savings 11:30 at night, so my hours are upside down. But thanks to forex, of course, we can trade the London session. Futures now is basically 24 hours a day, and for my European friends, there's some fantastic opportunities trading the European session now. And that just really brings in a few questions from members that I had, and the one I was going to answer on a separate video today is that for the European session, I love trading the 233, the ES 233 volume, and during the main London session, US session, providing the markets aren't going crazy, for 1000 volume. I'm really in love with that on the ES right now. So thanks now to the global markets, you can basically trade 24 hours a day. Now, what market do I prefer for scalping? I prefer futures, and the reason being is fixed commissions. Is that I'm paying $4.60, $4.70 round turn, so it's very low. Great liquidity, particularly on the NQ, on the black gold, on oil. Oil is a fantastic market for scalping today, and a great trading range on all of those, the NQ, YM, ES. Even if you go over Euro Stock X50 and some of the others, you've got great trading ranges, and that's what you want. You want the market to be moving, liquidity, and you want to know it, and you want to be able to see those waves, and you get to know the personality. Now, for the day traders of stocks, of course, you may day trade and focus on half a dozen stocks and get to know their personality as well. They all operate differently. Well, in my opinion, they do. I think the NQ is very different to the ES as an example. Another reason for futures over stocks, particularly in the US, of course, is the pattern trader rules over there. If you have any more than 4 trades a day, I think it's over 5 particular days, you've got to have a $25,000 margin. Now there may be ways around that, but of course with futures you can get started with as little as, realistically, staying within our risk management rules, $4,000 and $1,000 with forex. So there's a whole lot of benefits there. Now, scalping requires 100% focus traders, and you'll see a couple of stuff ups I made on Friday, and I want to show you what those are so you can learn from them. Look, I rarely have a 100% perfect trading day. I make mistakes every day, but I also learn from them, and sometimes I need to have multiple learning experiences. So, you know, lock your door, close your blinds, make sure the dog's been fed, turn off the phone, close down your emails, and put on your Zen music, because if you are scalping, you can do really well, as you're about to see, but you also need to be really focused. So the trades I'm going to show you are 12 trades in approximately 90 minutes, and I was trading the T1, the T2, the T9, the T20. Now for those watching this for the first time, we code all of our setups. It just makes it easier. We have about 14-15 different codes that we use, so you learn those in the course. Okay, now by the way, very quickly, quick advertisement, it's only $197 for now over 40 hours of recordings of this training, so it's a very small investment. But anyway, back onto this slide. So in the examples I'm going to be showing you, I was trading 10 contracts, 5 off it plus 4 ticks, which is $250, less $45 odd in brokerage. Now once I hit 4 ticks, the last 5 went to break even, and thanks to the trading domes, nearly all trading platforms, you can have this simply coded automatically. As soon as you hit your target, you go to break even. Then I had my second target at 6 ticks, which is $375. Now I had a fixed stop of 6 ticks, and this is a question that comes up regularly. Where do we put our stops? Normally traders, I would have my stop 2 ticks above a swing high or below a swing low. For this particular exercise, and I'm not sure if I really went into about the training session I was actually, by the way, this will come from emails I've been getting in a training session. I'm going to be doing much more in depth on this. Is that I thought, well, I'm going to use fixed stops on this exercise. So the maximum gain is 625. Now if you think about my risk is 750, the gain is 625 on a risk reward. Normally I talk that they must be minimum 1-to-1, so it's out there, but this is very high probability trading. Now I'm going to try maybe a 5 tick stop during next week, and I'm going to experiment with that and a larger target, which we'll talk about. So 9 hit plus 4 ticks, and then it went to break even. Then out of those 9, 5 went on to hit plus 6, and as you'll see, 1 or 2 of those I moved to break even plus 1. Then I had 2 break-evens and 1 loss, which are all around each other, which are actually mistakes, and I'll show you silly things I did wrong. And so that was a net of around $299 per contract, somewhere in that sort of vicinity. Now I want to also quickly just cover this with you. Is one major advantage of scalping is, believe it or not, you can actually remove some of the pressure of day trading and scalping by having 2 different targets. Now if we consider slot machines, and we can actually learn something here. I want you to be open-minded here for a moment. What's the psychology of slot machines? You go in there's lots of music playing in the casinos, you've the machines going ding 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 ding. Every time you have a win, it pays something out, and you know, most slot machines, of course, every couple of minutes you got some sort of payout, whether it be a tiny one or a good size one. Unlikely you're going to hit the jackpot, but you got some sort of cash flow, some sort of reward. And so just a bit like Pavlov's dog, you're being rewarded on a regular basis. One of the advantages of day trading with a small target, providing you've got a high win ratio, it actually removes some of the stress, because you know your trade's going to break even very quickly, and overall your loss is going to be well and truly covered by these small scalps or small wins you're going to have on the way. And just think about that. It works really well, and this is where after this session I'd recommend you give it some thought. Anyway, so scalping requires the right markets and the right stocks, of course, the right forex market and futures, so you need to consider that. You also require the right charts, which I'm going to go into more in my members video, and of course you require the right indicators. And I could spend hours talking about this. My members will be covering this in the next video, but it's all about keeping your indicators down to a minimum. So a couple of other things I want you to think about here is that with our high probability entry signals, let's consider scalping a contract that is the first contract off at a set ratio, and in this particular case I was working on 4 ticks. Hey, it might be the ideal one might be 5, but I use 4. And swing trading the balance, let me just get rid of this thing here. No, swing trading the balance, that is either for a fixed target or trailing your stop. So instead of getting 6 ticks, you may get 10, 12, 14 ticks. What actually happens, traders, and we're all well aware of this, we have sweet spots every day. We have a sweet spot in the market, and that second contract you could possibly run and gain that sweet spot. So with the examples in this recording, as mentioned earlier, the first target was 4 ticks and the second one was 6. So mastering your tools. So let's just quickly talk about a couple of critical factors here. Is really, this takes work. Now, yes, I may make it look easy for some of you, but I've been doing this a long time. But if I'm not focused, you'll see I still make mistakes. But you know, wax on, wax off. Practice, use a simulator, because scalping can be a great way of really making a great deal of money out of the markets, but it takes time. You know, now on the simulator, execute 100 a day. Become very good. If you listen to someone like Tony Robbins, people say, Tony, you're a brilliant speaker, how did you do it? Well, as Tony said, I would go out and do 3 or 4 speeches a day. I become very good at it, because the more often you do it. And likewise with this, the more often you use a simulator, then the more often you live trade, the better you become at it. So how do we gain mastery? Because to be a day trader, a scalper, you need to become an epic day trader. Being good is not good enough. Now, I love this statement: small disciplines repeated with consistency every day lead to great achievements gained slowly over time. Now, I'm going to be showing you on the chart in a couple of moments a number of trading setups. However, you only need 1 or 2 of what I'm about to show you, and over a 2 or 3 hour period you've hit your profit target for the day. Now, very important here, the final thing before we go to the charts, well actually there's 2 more slides I want to show you. Stand guard to the door to your mind and don't let anyone steal your dreams. You're going to have people tell you why you can't learn to day trade, because 95% of traders lose their money, and that's absolutely right, and that's why you're going to join the 5% club. You know, I've had people say to me, stop trying to lead people or down the path they believe they can make money, because they can make money. You can succeed if you're willing to put the work and effort in. And I'm constantly saying to my members, join the 5% club, and we do that by gaining mastery. And how do we gain mastery? Through small disciplines repeated every day. In other words, get to master your setups. Wax on, wax off. Wax on, wax off. Become very good at one or two trading setups, traders, and you can have enormous success as a day trader and as a scalper. Before we go to the charts, all of this of course is in my program, your investment's $197. This is the last program you'll ever invest in. Go to my website to find out more about it, or to get my free ebook and whatever. But traders, you can do this. Let's now go and have a quick look at some charts. So what we're looking at here is the ES 1000 volume chart, and excuse the lines, I know it's maybe a little hard to see here. So the first trade, this by the way is 1252, what's actually 1251 thereabouts. I shorted the market based off this little trade here. Now even though it's a green candle, I'm not going to go into all the aspects here. Now I was in on this trend actually rather late, and let's have a look at this. So you can see here, for those that are traders, we had a T25, you had a 34 bounce, T25, T25, 34 bounce. So you already had 3 or 4 winning trades if you had been trading. So I jumped in right at the bottom here, and remembering my target was 4 ticks on the first contract and go to break even. And on that particular trade, you can see here I was out on my 5 contracts at 4 ticks and break even on the balance when it come on up. So I then entered a T7 and I was filled. I got my 4 ticks and my 6 ticks on the second lot. That was a nice trade. Then I want to quickly just run through a couple of stuff ups. Members, I'll go into this in detail. I had an 89B right here. I jumped in based upon a T25 move, and then I had a secondary entry here because very confident, but at the same time I was trading the NQ, become very disfocused on something else that was happening, and I exited those trades based upon what I was doing at the time on the NQ, saw that I had a T9 set up and went long. Very stupid, you know, because I was looking at something else. Traders, look, stay focused. So I exited at break even on 20 contracts, went long on 10, stopped on that cost me $750 plus the 2 trades that I would have been out on. We can see here it ticked up 1 tick above me here. I still would have been in with my 6 tick stop, and so that was I was very peeved at myself, very peeved. So anyway, look, we learn. Look, the lesson, traders, stay focused. If you're scalping or actively day trading, stay focused on one market. If you don't get many signals, well then okay, you're going to look at multiple markets, but please be very careful. Moving on, we had then a T25, and this was actually a T1 89 bounce. So I jumped in here, by the way, on this one. That was a nice I got my +4 +6. Another one here, I jumped in, it went down, it took me out at +4, then it started to rebound. I then moved my stop down. If I'd have left it, I would have got out at my +6. Instead I got out at I think it was +2 instead of +6. Should have left it alone, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Come up here, I had a T25 that was good, filled on both lots. Now here I did the same thing again. So actually there's more than 3 stuff ups. Even as much as this is very profitable, it come down, filled me on 4. It started to come back up again, so I thought, stuff it, I'm going to go down at +1. It took me out at basically break even +1. Then it continued down, whereas we're on this trade here and this trade. No, sorry, I would have been right on that one. But anyway, on this trade, I got out. I should have just left it alone. Once again, members, I'm going to go through these in detail in a more detailed video. Here I had another beautiful T9, which is why I jumped in on this one, along with virtually a T20, and that was great for both lots of contracts were filled. I then jumped in here on a T20. And that was filled on one lot, break even at the other. And I then had here I missed out on this T20, Here I jumped in on this T1 and a T10. I was in late, but I'll go into that on another video, and I achieved both lots on that particular trade, and that was it. So overall, traders, it was just under $3,000 on those trades, or just under $300 a contract. Now, one of the questions that may go through your mind: what if I had have just scalped every one of them for 4 ticks and not gone on the second contract on 6? Well, good question. By getting out on one contract at 4 ticks, I would have netted $1,230 after taking away all the brokerage, 2 break-evens of course, and the loss of $750. I still would have netted $1,230 instead of just under $3,000. What if I had have had both contracts on the plus 4 ticks only? I haven't done the math on that one, but what concerns me there, if you consider that my risk is still 6 ticks for a 4 tick gain. Yes, I know on this high probability it is still miles in front. However, risk reward is very, very important. So traders, hopefully you've gained some information or some ideas from this video. One thing I didn't mention is to grab a notebook and a pad and a pen to take notes as I go through these. So members, I'm going to be recording a video just going into more in depth with some of our rules and some of these. And if you haven't subscribed, please do to my channel, or go to my website and invest in the best day trading program you can invest in for $197. Thank you, traders.